this. I have no complaints with this. But here's the thing. I noticed that throughout the book, this could have easily been turned into like a horror novel. Hi guys. Welcome back to Friendly Neighborhood Bookworm. I'm Passy. And today I just wanted to talk about my October wrap-up because this month I apparently did a lot of reading. The first book I read this month was Ruin Rising by Leigh Bardugo. It was the final book of the Grisha trilogy. I rated it, I don't know, maybe it's just me, but like with that series, I didn't like it much. I felt like Alina wasn't, I felt like all the characters weren't fleshed out and everything was just there, and she was, I felt like, I guess it was her first books, so I can't be too mad. I can't be too annoyed about it, but like here's the thing, I feel like she goes and it's just like she's just telling us things. I feel like I didn't live through the story. She just told me what's happening, told me how it was going on, and then when it got to like Ruin and Rising, which I've heard people didn't like the ending. I thought the ending was okay because it was, I mean, maybe it's because it was the final book. I wanted to get it over with, and like, but like also I just thought it was like good for that kind of story. I'm not surprised of what happened in the ending, and I felt throughout the whole series, I just kept thinking like, but why? Like, Alina, you didn't have much. Every other characters felt like 2D. There wasn't like depth to them. I mean, I'm a hoe for character development. I love me some deep ass characters. But like with her, I was just like, no, no, no. I did not. I was straight up not having a good time. But the second book I read this month was It by Stephen King. Technically, I started this back in September. It took me a month to read it. Not because it was a thick boy, but because I did not like it. I got to about halfway through, and I was like, you know what? No, I'm just gonna listen to the audiobook. The audiobook was 44 hours long. By then I was like at 24 hours, which is about halfway through. But ma'am, I didn't like it. I felt like it was about like 600 pages too big. It was 600 pages too long. I felt like he could have done like, I don't know if anyone, like, I'm sure this book is like well loved, but like I personally felt like with some of the details he gave in the book, they weren't necessary. I'm not gonna go in depth of what they are, because if you're planning to read this, or if you've read this, you know what I'm talking about. It's just the things that he went into with this book, I feel like it was explicitly necessary, and the things that he said and told us about, I was like, no. That scene in the sewer, all I have to say is that scene in the sewer in the end, yeah. You know the one with the 6 boys and Beverly? Yeah. When I read that, I was like, you know what? No, I've had enough of this book. I was like, you know what? It's been a month. No. I rated this 2 stars. I did not have a good time. The next book I read this month, though, it was alright. It was Woman at the Window by A.J. Finn. This is The Woman at the Window by A.J. Finn, and she is this woman that lives alone, and she stalks her neighbors. And she sees this, it says here, she spends her days drinking wine and watching old movies and watching her neighbors. And then the Russells move in, and she sees like this murder happening, and now she just spends the entire book trying to, and then the Russells tell her no, it didn't happen. They're denying it. So she just spends the entire book telling them about why the murder happened. No, not what happened, but like trying to prove that it happened, and like the girl did die. I believe this was his debut novel, and it was runner-up to The Outsider by Stephen King, last for the Goodreads horror genre, I think, for Goodreads last year, 2018, I think. I liked it, but like I think it's because of the audiobook, because I started reading it at first and then I lost interest. So like I was starting reading it back in July when I had originally gotten this book, but then I tried it again, but this time it's the audiobook, and like I appreciated the audiobook. I liked it. I rated this 4 stars if you're wondering. The audiobook was good. I liked the reader. I think I forgot her name. I remembered her name. It's like Anne-Marie something or something like that. And I really liked it. I liked how she read it. I felt like I was in the story, and I just had a good time. After I read Woman at the Window, I read Call Me by Your Name by Andre Asman. And it's about this boy named Elio. And it's like, I don't know when this is set, but like it's like in a summer in Italy. I don't know where. They mentioned it. Italy, Riviera. And there is this exchange student, this grad student that comes to live with his parents, and his parents, his dad is a professor. So his name is Oliver, and then he's just obsessed with this kid. He's like, queer boys in love. I liked it. I rated it 5 stars. I was obsessed. Obviously, I have tabs. I'm planning to read it again in the future, not because I didn't understand it, but because I want to live it again. And like that last paragraph was like tears in my eyes. That last paragraph. It says, I stopped for a second. If you remember everything I wanted to say, and if you really liked me, then before you leave tomorrow, or when you're ready to shut the door of the taxi, and wow. Oh, can I even read? Okay, let's try it again. I stopped for a second. If you remember everything I wanted to say, and if you really liked me, then before you leave tomorrow, if you're just ready to shut the door of the taxi and have already said goodbye to everyone, there's not a thing left to say in this life, then just this once, turn to me, even in jest, or as an afterthought, which would have meant everything to me when we were together, as you did back then. Look me in the face, hold my gaze, and call me by your name. Sis. I like this. I have no complaints with this. But here's the thing. I noticed that throughout the book, this could have easily been turned into like a horror novel. I feel like maybe I'm just like desecrating on Andre Asman's work. That's like the relationship was kind of weird to me. Like there was like a hotel scene where the peach scene. The peach scene. Oh my god. If you've read this, then you know the peach scene. There's also the hotel scene. It was less weird. And I was just like, there was this hotel scene near the ending where they were together, and then like Elio decided to like have a little dookie. Elio used the bathroom, and then he made Oliver look at it. I was like, I don't know. I was like, okay, I guess. Okay, what am I gonna say? Okay, like, okay, it's fine. I'm fine. But yeah, the sequel came out 2 days ago. No, on the 29th. And I am looking forward to getting it because I really like this. I want to read the sequel. Even though I knew they weren't going to end up together, but like, I was still triggered when they didn't end up together. Like, I knew they weren't going to end up together, but like, in the end, I was like, just like, ugh, kick me in my face, why don't you? Like, I knew this going into it, but like, come on. But that was that. Okay, after Call Me By Your Name, I read oh my goodness, I read Not That Bad. It's because I got tired, like I got tired of Stephen King after, so I just went to like, I was like, I'm tired of reading stories, let me just go to an anthology. So which is Not That Bad, Dispatches on Rape Culture by Roxane Gay. And it was just these stories about rape and things like that. Not all the stories were about someone getting raped, but it was about rape culture in general. I feel guilty. Like, reading this, I liked it. But I just felt guilty of the fact that I was like, I don't want to rape. Hold on. I liked the different perspectives it gave. Not that bad. I liked the perspectives. I just felt like I couldn't relate to some of the characters, and that's not the author's fault, that's just my own, because I'm a sheltered whatever. I ended up rating it 3 stars because of the fact that I couldn't rate, and I feel guilty about it because I'm like, why am I rating 3 stars to someone's life experiences? But I just felt like it didn't go into depth. All right, so the next book I read was Binti Home, and Binti Masquerade, which was a trilogy of it's a set in like the future. It's a sci-fi. I can't really tell you what it's about, because if I tell you what it's about, then it just ruins it. Just know it's a sci-fi, and I rated it 4 stars, and I have no complaints. It was fine. It was good. Next, now I had a reason why I was reading the Grisha trilogy when I knew I wasn't gonna like it. Not because I wanted to like hate it and like just shit on it the entire time. No, I had a reason. I read it because I was planning to read this bad boy. This one, the Six of Crows duology, which includes the Six of Crows and Crooked Kingdom. I'm currently reading Crooked Kingdom, but the The Six of Crows. Because I have heard so many things about this. Like, Read with Cindy loves it. Like, everyone on BookTube loves it. Like, everyone is obsessed. So I'm like, okay, then I want to see what it's about. So basically, this is about, like, if you haven't heard, which is unlikely, it's about this heist that these group of kids, these teenagers have to pull, and it's just all about fun. I liked it. It's like, you can, in this book, compared to like Shadow and Bone, you can tell how much she has changed, and she has evolved as an author. Like, these characters I feel are more fleshed out. The world building is like good because it started on the Grishaverse, and then now here she just expanded on it, and I liked it. It was a good book. I have no complaint. However, in my personal opinion, I felt it was overhyped. I ended up rating it 4 stars, not because I hated it, but I was like, okay, I read this book. It was really good. It wasn't bad, as they say. I have no complaints, but like, did I love it? Did I love it? Did I love it? Did I love it? No, I did not. I really like this, but I didn't feel like rating it 5 stars if it wasn't something that I was obsessed with and I loved and I was like cried. I mean, for me, a little category for me in my books is that I have to cry for me to give it a 5 stars. Like, if you don't make me cry, I'm sorry, but like, no, you gotta make me cry. I'm not like, come on, if you make me cry or like bring the little specks of tears, I'm like, you know what, you deserve that, you go. But like, I like this. I would recommend this. I like this. It was good. After Six of Crows, the next book I read, and after Six of Crows and Benty, the next book I read was Poet X by Elizabeth Acevedo. For this, I was told, I have heard that you should listen to the audiobook, which I agree. And I have no complaints. And spoiler alert, I rated it 5 stars. And spoiler alert, I did cry. When it got to the part where the ending, when like the climax of the book, I was like, ooh, I felt that being raised by Caribbean parents. If you know, you know. If you know, you know. But like, I have no complaints. But like, just to give a little synopsis of this book, it's about this girl named Xiomara Batista. I feel like I'm butchering her name. And like, it's just she's raised in like this religious household, and but herself, she doesn't feel connected to God, and she doesn't feel like she wants to be religious herself, and she loses herself into poetry and spoken word. And this book is just about her growing and finding herself, and like her family, it's like about her growing and like just going through life and finding herself, and her telling her parents about things about her beliefs and things like that. It was a good book. Maybe I'm just doing a bad synopsis. If I read her while I was like in high school or something like that, I would have cried way more than I did in this. The next book I read was We Should All Be Feminists by Chimamanda Ngozi Adichie. Yes, Chimamanda Ngozi Adichie. We Should All Be Feminists. This is the book I read. I rated it 3 stars. And it wasn't a bad book. I liked the message she gave, but I didn't like some of her word choice. Maybe I'm just being picky, but like, I didn't like her word choice. She said, she kept mentioning like about being a feminist and the fact that she wants to be girly. She mentioned about being a feminist about the fact that she wants to be she's afraid of being girly because it takes her away from her power and stuff like that, which is fine. That's true. For her, but like the fact that she used the word girly to me made me feel I didn't like it. The fact that she used the word girly, I didn't appreciate it. I just felt like she could have used a better word. That could have been a better word. Like, she could have used feminine or something like that. She could have used something else. I didn't like the fact that she kept mentioning about like the male gaze, and she just talked about the supplying to man too much. I didn't like that about it. But like, it was good. It wasn't bad. I just rated it 3 stars because of those things, and I just didn't feel like it was worth it. I think it's just because of the differences of culture. I think it's the different culture that's like why I couldn't relate to it. Because my gay ass don't live my life worrying about what men is saying. I'm like, bitch, no. But like with her, she's a straight cisgendered female, so of course she's always gonna be worried about the male gaze, supplying to the male audience. The next book I read after that was The Wife Between Us by Greer Hendricks. So here's the thing. I ended up rating it 3 stars. And it's not because it's a bad book. Like, I would totally recommend this book to someone that's just getting into horror. Me speaking like, I read so much horror. No, bitch, you don't. But, like, someone that's just getting into horror, I would definitely recommend this book. Like, it's really good. I like the way they described everything. I like the premise of the book. But, like, with the ending, that was the thing. Like, with the ending, I didn't appreciate the ending. I didn't appreciate the ending. And I just felt like it was rushed. And this is the point in the month where I started reading a lot of 3 stars. Maybe it was just me, but I just didn't like it. Like, I know Books and Lala read it. That's actually why I started reading it, because she was reading it and she was like, oh, it's 5 stars, it's really good. And then, like, and then I read it and I was like, it's okay. There was a plot twist in the beginning. That plot twist, I knew about it. Maybe that's why it ruined the book for me. If I didn't know about the plot twist, I would have rated the book 3 stars. I would have rated it 4 stars. But I knew about the plot twist and I just kept hoping for it. When it did come, it just took me out of the story. I was like, fuck this. Like, it wasn't a bad plot twist. And now I had actually read another book like that with that plot twist later in the month, but like at the time I was like, no, I feel triggered. I had all these things set and I thought it was gonna happen, and then there was the process and I was like, okay, then what next? What are you gonna do now? But like, and I also felt like after that plot twist and everything started unraveling, I just felt like the stakes weren't getting higher and higher. I mean, yeah, Emma's life could have been at stake and things like that, but like, I just felt like the stakes weren't getting high enough. I just felt like that. I'm like, what was the point? You are like, and I just felt like I got to a point where I was like, I was being told everything that was happening. I wasn't actually like, it wasn't being described to me. I was just being told what it is. I just felt like I wasn't there because you're like, oh, she's a mastermind. She did all these things. I'm like, oop, good for her. We love supporting women that just, women that just owns themselves and just learn to like go past their differences. I love that. But I felt like I was being told. I wasn't being described it and I just didn't like it. So I ended up rating it 3 stars and it's still I would still recommend it. After The Wife Between Us, I ended up reading, actually, I never told you what it was about, did I? I'm so bad at this. All right, The Wife Between Us is about this girl named, in the beginning, you think there is Vanessa and Neely. And Vanessa is getting married. Neely's getting married to this guy named Richard. And then Vanessa is trying to stop the wedding and things like that. And it's just about her, like, saving someone else from getting into an abusive husband. And it's into an abusive relationship. We're all told from the beginning that it's about, like, a jealous ex-wife and things like that. But I'm not going to tell you more. Obviously, there's more, but, like, I'm not going into it because then it's just going to ruin the book for you. So, read it. Thank you. After reading The Wife Between Us, I decided to take a break from horror, and I went to a fantasy book, and it was called Hero by Perry Moore. It's about this superhero. It's like a Marvel, basically, thing and superhero thing. I found out after reading it that the guy that wrote the book, Perry Moore, actually I think did write for Marvel, from what I've been told. So it's about like this gay teen that has a superpower of like healing things, and then he lives in a world where like having a superpower is widely known, and it's just him finding himself and like accepting himself. And it wasn't that he wasn't accepting of himself, it was like everyone around him was like not accepting of him. Like it's a whole thing, and it was like this murder happening, and it's a good old superhero book. I ended up rating it 3 stars only because I felt like the characters weren't in depth, and some characters felt like they were side characters. They were like just there to move the plot. My favorite character, she was only there to, she only had a, she was a sidekick. So she's like, oh, this is gonna happen, Tom, that was his name, Tom. This is gonna happen. And that was the only time she was done, when she tells something happened, and then when she couldn't tell anything anymore, they killed her off. I was like, excuse me, I liked her. Pardon? I appreciated her. But that's that on that. There's nothing else I can say about it. That's what happened. The other book I've read was Turtles All the Way Down by John Green. It's about this girl that let me actually look this up so I don't mess up this synopsis. It's about like this billionaire fugitive. They're trying to find this billionaire fugitive, and there's also like about this girl that has I think she has anxiety. Yeah. I'm looking on Goodreads right now. The synopsis for this is like makes no sense. It said it all began with a fugitive billionaire and the promise of a cash reward. The Turtle All the Way Down is about a lifelong friendship, intimacy of an expected. It doesn't make sense. It's about this fugitive and they're trying to find her, and then there's like the main character is this girl that has anxiety, I believe. I don't know what it is. I think it's anxiety. I don't know. I think it's anxiety. I think. And it's just her finding herself and things like that. I ended up rating it 3 stars. After Turtles All the Way Down, I ended up reading Sometimes I Lie. This lady in a coma, it's just about her finding out what happened to her and how did she get to the coma, and along the way you found different things. I ended up rating it 3 stars. The premise to me, I keep looking now because I'm looking at my tablet so I can like know what I'm talking about, because who talks anymore anyways? If you actually want to know my full opinion and my full review, you can go on my Goodreads. I'll link it down below and you can find out what I actually think if you're interested. This is just me rambling about it because I was interested. But like, reading this, I understood why the general review was 3 stars. I was like in the middle. I was in the general population of it being 3 stars. It wasn't, they said the tag said it was like a thriller and a psychological thriller. I'm like, what psychology? What thriller? It wasn't scary. It wasn't thrilling. I was like, okay, you're in a coma, you're gonna have like the climax and the book happened in her head. Like, it didn't happen in real life. It wasn't like she woke up and stuff happened. I was like, no, it was her. She's like, oh, this is what happened. This is what my sister did. Ooh, I'm up. Bye. I mean, that was overly simplified, but generally I just felt like it was not thrilling enough to me. And like with the plot, I feel like the plot was like, I was just tired of reading like cheating husbands this, cheating husbands that. I was like, no. So I was happy that in this book that was in the cheating husband, and the husband, let me move you, and the husband wasn't like cheating and he wasn't unfaithful, and I was like, you know what, yes, this is what I want. That's why I rated it I added another star, because I was like, yes, I want faithful husbands. I'm tired of reading of cheating ass people. I was like, no, I'm tired of it. But as I said before, I felt like the climax wasn't really a climax. The climax happened in your head, which would be fine if it was like suspenseful and stuff, but like it wasn't really a climax. I didn't like it. And like the ending though, if you read Sometimes I Lie, it's by Alice Feeney. Sometimes I Lie by Alice Feeney, which I rated 3 stars. If you read it, it was good. I would recommend this to someone else who has not read much of thrillers. I would recommend this, but for me myself, it wasn't a hit. It wasn't bad, but it wasn't like great either. Okay, so after that, your girl read Wilder Girls by Rory Power, which is her debut novel, and it's about like these girls that are stuck on this island, and it's like a boarding school, and then this outbreak happens, and then when when the outbreak happens, they end up having like these weird things happening to them. They grow extra spines. One of their eyes is shut down. It's just like a whole thing, and it's just them fighting occurring things like that, and you find different things. For this, I rated it 4 stars. With this book, it was really hard for me to rate this. I don't know why, but with this book, I had a hard time rating it. I felt like it wasn't, like, I didn't know how to rate it. I was like, okay, it's not a 3 star. It's better than 3 stars, but it's not a 5 star. So a 4 star was like, I felt like a 4 star wasn't good enough. It's just like, it was like a whole back and forth. I spent like half an hour sitting down trying to rate this. I really liked it. I tabbed it because I had some stuff I like. It was mostly like the cute gay shit. There's like a light female romance on here, between two characters, and every time they were interacting, I liked it. I wish that was more romance, but then I guess it would make it less horror and more romance. But like, I was like, I want more gay shit. Like, bitch, my ass wants more. I want more girls in love. I want more stupid girls in love. That's what I wanted. But I really liked it. I rated it 4 stars. I don't have much to complain about. The reason why it was a hard thing for me, because I couldn't pinpoint why I didn't want to rate it 5 stars. Like, if I tab something, it means I had enough innovation to get out of bed and to tab it, because my stuff's across the room from me. So like, now I'm like, why didn't I tab it? Why didn't I rate it 5 stars? I was so confused, but like, I really liked it. I would recommend this, and I don't know, I honestly don't know why it has 3 stars on Goodreads. In general, it's like, I think it has like 3 stars, and I don't know why it has it, because I liked it. I felt like it should have been like a 4 stars, but that's just my opinion. And after Wilder Girls, I ended up reading Cabin at the End of the Woods by Paul Tremblay? No, I'm gonna butcher his name. Yeah, by Paul Tremblay, Cabin at the End of the Woods. I have a love-hate relationship with this book. I ended up rating it 4 stars only because I had such low expectations for this book that it not being what I just had one thing, just don't be homophobic. And because it wasn't that, I rated it 4 stars. My expectations were so low that I was easily entertained. I liked the ending because what I hoped happened, even though it was good. It was okay. It was okay. I only rated, like I said, 4 stars because the characters, it was infuriating. The book was infuriating because they're like, oh, there's like this apocalypse thing, and they have to decide to sacrifice one another. And they're like, oh, and the people that came in, they're like, it's like 5 of them, and they're like, oh, we're not gonna force you to do this. It's up to you. But like, you're gonna have to sacrifice one of your own. And like, you know what? Like, I'm sorry, but like, we're the good guys here because we're trying to save the world. Like, fuck that shit. Fuck that shit. If it means I have to say I can save my family. Like, no, I don't care. Like, it was just a whole thing, and they were like, oh, you know, you want to save your family, you want to do this. And I was like, fuck that. Like, I would rather have a family. Like, they're like, oh, it's either you or the world. I was like, okay, and what about it? What the fuck has the world done for me? The world can go somewhere with that. If it means saving my family, then yes, fucking like that. No, fuck that. Maybe I'm just selfish, but like, I was like, I could not relate. The only character in that book that had sense was the little girl. She used her sense, and like, throughout this whole book, not one of these people questioned it. Like, throughout the whole time of coming to the cabin to like find the couple in their it's like Eric and Edward and their daughter Wen, and not like throughout this book, no one was like, oh, you know, maybe this wasn't a good idea. Who, like, the apocalypse though? And the ending, I guess the ending was okay. I wasn't like overtly happy about it, but it was okay. I finished this like yesterday, and I still feel strongly, as you can see. But the final book I read in the month was Hold Still by Nina LaCour. May I say, this cover was hella cute. I really liked it. And it has like little arts inside. And it has like, where's the other art? They have like little designs for like the seasons, as well as, yeah, they have like little drawings and stuff. I really liked it. It was a good book. I ended up rating it 4 stars. So it's about this girl, like 2 best friends, and then one of them ends up committing suicide, and it's just her, what's the word I'm looking for? And it's just the outcome of that friend accepting that death and finding out what happened and things like that. It's not a heavy book, and it's not like a murder mystery, because she committed suicide, and that's that. And it's just about her friend learning to like cope and going through the stages of grief and finding purpose in life. I really liked it, and you should read it. It's about like, so that's it. That's all that I read this month. It was a wild month. This is a lot of books that I've read. I'm really surprised I read all these books. 18 books, that's a lot. I usually don't read as much.